Alright, how we doing, folks? Rich Van Tassel with you, giving you our picks for the conference championship games in the NFL. And of course, we're recording audio for Get Live Radio. The first game is the AFC Championship. The Jacksonville Jaguars are traveling to New England to play the Patriots. Injuries first for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are only listing one. It's Deshaun Gibson, the safety. He is questionable. For the New England Patriots, they're all listed as questionable. Tom Brady, quarterback. We'll talk about that in a moment. Rex Burkhead, running back. Mike Gillislee, running back. Alan Branch, defensive end, and Adrian Waddle, an offensive tackle. Certainly that injury to Tom Brady, it's in his hand. It's stitches in his hand. We'll have to see how it affects him in this game. It appears to be pretty serious. You never really know with the New England Patriots. They are very close to the vest with their injuries. We'll just have to see. It's been pretty mild in the Northeast for the weather-wise in January, so I don't know how much that'll affect him. If it was a lot colder, I would say yes. We'll have to see, though. You never know with New England weather. For the Jaguars, of course, Blake Bortles is going to have to not make mistakes in this game, as any quarterback does. Are the Jaguars going to be able to effectively run the ball as well? I think Jacksonville has to come out and be aggressive early. Doug Marrone, the head coach, has certainly shown that he is willing to take chances. We saw last week early in the game against the Steelers. He went for it in a 4th and goal situation. I don't know if that's going to translate to just taking chances on 4th downs, not settling for field goals, or if they're going to open things up, really go downfield early, try to jump on the Patriots. I'm looking to see if that's going to happen. I would expect it will. If there's any trick plays in there, maybe a flea flicker, anything of that nature, we'll have to see. I'm certainly expecting Jacksonville to be aggressive. I think they have to try to jump out on the New England Patriots. Now, Jacksonville, as we've seen many times, you even saw it last week, when they jump out on teams, they do have a tendency, as this team has shown, to get a little too big for themselves, a little too high on themselves, and allow teams to come back. Now, that could also work against them. They have to be focused in this game, the Jaguars do. That defense, Tom Brady will spread you out against that good secondary, as we've seen many times with Tom Brady. It's going to be a test of really the lesser and the backup and the nickel and dime packages for the Jacksonville Jaguars in this game. The corners, who are the 3rd, 4th corners who have to cover, you know what you're going to get from A.J. Boyd and Jalen Ramsey. So those guys are going to be pretty solid. It's going to be the other guys who have to cover, and especially look for guys like Dion Lewis out of the backfield. I think Tom Brady is going to try to do that a lot in this game, establish that early, especially if Jacksonville Jaguars jump out to a lead. That could help them in that regard, because New England will try to force the ball downfield. As long as Tom Brady can stay where he doesn't have to take the shots and test those good corners of Boyd and Ramsey for the Jaguars, I think New England's going to be all right. If Jacksonville can force Tom Brady into that, allow that front four to get some pressure on Tom Brady as well with a big lead, then Jacksonville really has a shot in this game. I don't expect it to happen. I think Jacksonville will put up points early, but I think New England will be able to match that, and Jacksonville will not be able to run away. I think it'll be tighter than expected, but New England will be able to manage the game as they wish throughout the entire time. Jacksonville is not going to put them in any precarious situations, and New England is going to come away with the victory in this game. I like a score of 28-23. I think Bortles will make the plays for the Jaguars, just not enough. There won't be mistakes. It'll be New England winning this game, not the Jacksonville Jaguars giving it away. In the NFC Championship game, the Minnesota Vikings are traveling to Philadelphia to play the Eagles. Injuries for the Vikings first. The questionables: Adam Thielen, wide receiver; Mackenzie Alexander, cornerback; Andrew Sendejo, safety. The out is Shamar Stephan, a defensive tackle. For the Philadelphia Eagles, Dannell Ellerbe, linebacker, is questionable. This is a very tricky game. You have two good defenses. Minnesota is certainly more highly touted, but Philadelphia's defense is as good as anyone as far as I'm concerned. Will Philadelphia be able to run the ball effectively with LeGarrette Blount, with Jay Ajayi in this game against what is a very good Minnesota front four? Of course, we've discussed many times Minnesota is good on all three levels, but when you're trying to run the ball, as the Philadelphia Eagles will do to minimize what Nick Foles, that is giving you, it's going to be a big test for the Philadelphia Eagles, and Minnesota's run defense is certainly going to have to step up and will be a key factor in this game. Case Keenum, we saw last week, he had that miracle touchdown pass. I thought he played pretty well. I don't think he played poorly. Minnesota's defense, frankly, is what let them down, if you could say, even though they still won the game. They had the 17-0 lead. You don't expect Minnesota to give that away. It's going to be outdoors. Again, Philadelphia, as we just discussed in the other game, it's mild in the Northeast for January, so I don't think that's going to be much of a factor. I look for the Minnesota Vikings to run the ball heavy with Latavius Murray and try to take some shots. I'd like to see if Laquan Treadwell can get involved for the Minnesota Vikings. I think they're going to have to try to throw the ball because Philadelphia's secondary is not bad, but it's certainly nowhere near the secondary that the Minnesota Vikings have. So where Philadelphia is going to be running the ball a lot with Nick Foles, and the test is going to be on the front four for the Minnesota Vikings and the front seven altogether. For the Philadelphia Eagles, it's going to be a test of that secondary, and I'd like to see if Minnesota is going to take their chances downfield. I don't think Treadwell has necessarily lived up to expectations since coming into the league. You do have Stephon Diggs. You also have Adam Thielen, who's listed as questionable. Thielen is not necessarily the downfield threat. He can stretch defenses at times, but he's more of a slot pattern and run after the catch sort of receiver. So that's going to be very tricky in this one. It's a tough game to pick. I was leaning towards Philadelphia earlier in the week, and I'm still going to stick with the Philadelphia Eagles in this one. I think Minnesota, I just don't trust Case Keenum enough. I don't think that they are explosive enough on the outside. Even though you have two quarterbacks, you have basically backup quarterbacks, Keenum, who started the year as a backup, and of course Foles, who came in late for Carson Wentz. I think that the playmakers on the outside for Philadelphia will enable them to put up more points in this game, and I like a score of 21-17. The Philadelphia Eagles advance to the Super Bowl. All right, when these games go final, we will, of course, give you the recap of them. Be sure to stay tuned for that. And remember, we appreciate all subscriptions as well. Thank you.